That feeling of anticipation that normally hits around this time of year, the one that used to be unmistakable during WrestleMania season, feels strangely absent in 2025. It's not that the card is completely devoid of talent or potential classics. It's that the soul of the build-up feels sterilized, as if it's been meticulously engineered to tick off corporate KPIs, rather than create genuine excitement. What's most jarring is how that missing energy doesn't come from lack of star power. This year arguably features one of the most stacked rosters in recent memory. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, John Cena, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. These aren't names that belong to a mid-tier show. They're industry cornerstones. But somehow WWE has still managed to fumble the emotion that should come with these names colliding on the grandest stage. If you think this build-up to WrestleMania has been a bit underwhelming and uncharacteristic for WrestleMania season, well, you're not alone. It isn't that we haven't seen bad or lackluster builds to WrestleMania before. It's just that we haven't seen one like this under the Triple H era. The build-up to WrestleMania 39 and 40, by comparison, was straight fire. The stakes felt high, the matches felt right, and even though everything wasn't perfect, it was a whole lot better and more exciting than what we're getting now. Not only that, but the European tour leading into the biggest show of the year has been a very odd choice. We're going to break down why this build-up is even more absurd than it seems on the surface. You're probably aware of the fact that WWE is in quite a hot era right now, and has been for over 2.5 years. It seems like they can't really go wrong, with each event breaking some kind of record. Attendance is up, reactions are through the roof, and it's clear that WWE is in the healthiest place it's been in a very long time. It's honestly hard to think of a period in the 2010s that was this hot. In 2011, you had the Summer of Punk. In 2012, the Rock versus Cena feud captivated the industry. And in 2016, from a pure quality standpoint, it was arguably the best WWE year of that decade. But this level of consistency that WWE is currently enjoying, unprecedented. So of course, it only makes sense that the momentum has to hit a speed bump eventually. That's not doom and gloom. It's just acknowledging that this year's road to WrestleMania has left a lot to be desired. There were already questions surrounding the choice of Royal Rumble winners, especially the men's one. And when you take a step back and realize that neither of the Rumble winners are headlining WrestleMania, it starts to feel even more confusing. The only feud that's truly felt like a WrestleMania-worthy war is the Women's World Championship storyline. The presence of stars like IYO Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair has been electric, but even that hasn't been enough to elevate the rest of the card. The John Cena heel turn at Elimination Chamber should have been the jolt WrestleMania season needed, but WWE failed to capitalize on the momentum. When they did follow up, it was Cena cutting a promo blaming the fans, the same fans who'd actually respected and cheered him unanimously for nearly a decade by that point. There are more layers to that story, sure, but the fact remains, the moment was bigger than the aftermath. On top of that, Cena hasn't been advertised for a single show in April, leading into WrestleMania. That, in itself, raises a lot of questions. Then there's the Jey Uso versus Gunther match, which hasn't exactly lit the world on fire either. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair is another rivalry that just doesn't feel like it was fleshed out enough. And while this criticism so far has been aimed at the creative side of things, the reason we're making this video is to shine a light on something that's been mentioned here and there online, but hasn't been properly unpacked. So like we said earlier, WWE is hot right now, and ever since the TKO merger became official, the corporate machine has been running at full throttle. WWE has always been a for-profit company, serving shareholders. That isn't new, but the scale of it, it's a whole new level now. You've probably noticed the trend. After every big event, Triple H sits in a chair at the press conference, proudly announcing that it was the highest-grossing premium live event in WWE history. Every WrestleMania sets a new gate record. Backlash becomes the highest-grossing arena show. Royal Rumble 2025 was the highest-grossing non-WrestleMania event ever. It sounds incredible, until you realize why. Here's the thing. These shows aren't grossing more because they're selling more tickets. They're grossing more because the ticket prices have skyrocketed. That's literally it. Stadiums don't magically have more seats. It's just that every seat now costs more. And sure, you could argue that it's justified because WWE has become the hottest ticket in town, but that's not really the case in Las Vegas this year. Screenshots from Ticketmaster and fan posts on Twitter show just how badly the average fan has been priced out of the experience. Look up tickets for WrestleMania 41. The cheapest nosebleed seats cost $200 per day, and that's before fees. Want to get closer? A floor seat, one that's not even near ringside, will run you $15,000. That's just scratching the surface. Throw in additional events. The SmackDown before Mania, the Raw after, the Hall of Fame, the roast of WrestleMania, the various meet and greets. And it all stacks up fast. One fan paid $1,100 for a 2-day ticket combo. No perks, just the shows. Want to attend WWE World? Add $300. Want to meet Lex Luger and Triple H? That'll be $8,500. Want to go to the WrestleMania roast hosted by Tony Hinchcliffe? The minimum price is $995. And if you want actual premium access, like a meet and greet or early entry, that number jumps to $2,350 before fees. It becomes clear real quick. These prices are absurd. When you combine them with hotel stays, food, flights, and transportation, the cost of WrestleMania becomes completely unmanageable for most fans. And that is exactly where the creative ties in. When the buildup is as underwhelming as it's been this year, how can you even begin to justify this kind of pricing? Last Word on Sports did a phenomenal analysis on this very topic. We strongly recommend checking out their article on WWE's premiumization of WrestleMania. One of the most jaw-dropping points made in that article was about how accessible WrestleMania used to be. At the very first WrestleMania, a front row seat cost $100, which today, adjusted for inflation, would be about $300. By WrestleMania 20 in 2004, front row tickets were $1,000. 10 years later, that number grew to $2,500. Still expensive, but relatively manageable for a once-in-a-lifetime event. But then came the explosion. By WrestleMania 38, front row tickets had jumped to $10,000. WrestleMania 40? $23,000. WrestleMania 41? Brace yourself, $50,000 for front row. That's not just a price increase, that's an entirely new strategy. WWE isn't trying to make this accessible anymore. They're trying to make it premium, exclusive, elite. They're aiming for the Taylor Swift era's tour crowd. They want to create a Super Bowl-like experience. But here's the problem. While the Super Bowl is a one-night event built on year-long stakes, WrestleMania is still dependent on the quality of the weekly product. And when your weekly product is delivering feuds like Gunther versus Jey Uso, does anyone really want to pay thousands of dollars for it? Sure, WWE can justify these prices right now, but for how long? Once WrestleMania is over, Triple H is going to get back in that chair, pat himself on the back, and say this was the highest grossing WrestleMania in history. He'll tout the attendance numbers and revenue streams, and completely ignore the experience of the everyday fan. Because the truth is, fans don't care about gates and quarterly reports. They care about good wrestling, good stories. A WrestleMania that feels earned, not handed to them in the form of a press release. Yes, Las Vegas is a premium city, but using that as an excuse only widens the divide between WWE and the fans it used to claim to care about, especially families. WWE built its reputation on being a family product for decades. You can't go on NBC or Fox and say you're about families, and then turn around and charge a family $6,000 just to sit in the lower bowl. Parents are going to have to sit their kids down and explain why they can't afford to attend the biggest wrestling show of the year. And that's not just sad, that's damaging. Eventually, fans will start voting with their wallets. It might not happen with WrestleMania 41, but the ripple effects will be felt across smaller shows, live events, even monthly premium live events. If prices continue to rise, fans will stop attending, and WWE will be forced to come back down to earth. Because when you price out everyone except the rich, you lose the foundation of what made WWE successful in the first place. Just a carefully managed segment on Raw, a press release, and some vague nods to a new chapter. What should have been a cultural reset for WWE became another marketing bullet point. That disconnect from what the fans actually crave is what makes this year's build-up feel hollow. Beyond creative, the optics of the pricing strategy are creating a quiet storm. The narrative WWE has chosen to push, that WrestleMania is now this hyper-luxury, once-in-a-lifetime dream, is being met with growing skepticism. You can only sell exclusivity for so long before people start realizing the experience isn't actually improving. That floor seat might cost $15,000, but the in-ring product is identical to what someone at home can stream for $9.99 a month. The idea of value is being redefined in real time, and fans are catching on. The argument used to be about proximity to greatness, about feeling the energy live. Now, the conversation is about how insane it is to charge the cost of a used car for a seat at a show with a build-up that doesn't even stir anticipation. Let us know what you think about the WrestleMania 41 build-up and WWE's absurd ticket pricing. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.